Tonight on the Magic Hour, you'll never guess who's on.
I won't tell if you don't tell.
Kirstie Alley's gonna show us what's in Veronica's closet.
Uh-oh.
Then Kenny G's gonna horn in on the action.
Get down, get down.
Plus the music of the ever-glamorous Sheila E. Tonight, you will believe in magic.
It'll make you lose remote control.
The Magic Hour.
The Magic Hour, tonight at 11:30 p.m. on Fox 5.
Before we start this episode, there's a minor correction from last week. On last week's episode, it was mentioned that the Russian team had won the gold medal in men's basketball at the 1980 Olympics. This, in fact, was not correct. The Yugoslavian team won the gold medal in the 1980 Olympics in Moscow. Just a quick little correction. And now...
Well, hold on a second. I need to make another correction, Mike.
Okay.
Now, Chico, you said that UNC had won more championships than the Boston Red Sox for basketball. Correct. UNC basketball has 6 national championships. The Boston Red Sox have 9 World Series titles. People forget about those 5 championships the Red Sox won between 1903 and 1918 before the curse happened.
Chico took this news a lot better than I thought he would.
Well, I got one question, guys.
If you believe in magic, don't you bother to choose if it's jug band music or rhythm and blues. Just go and listen. It'll start with a smile that won't wipe off your face no matter how hard you try. Your feet start tapping and you can't seem to find how you got there. Do you believe in magic? Scooby-Dooby-Doo-Bop. Scooby-Dooby-Dooby-Dooby-Dooby-Doo-Bop. Yeah, magic.
An anthology about the bad, the short-lived, and the forgotten shows and events in television history. This is It Was a Thing on TV.
Punisher! Control!
Harry, before I change my mind!
I give you Super Train.
Episode 486, submission number 930, The Magic Hour. The Magic Hour aired in nightly syndication from June 8th to August 7th, 1998, for 8 weeks.
From Los Angeles, it's the Magic Hour. Tonight, actress Leela Roshan, the star of Arliss, Robert Wool, from The Practice, Steve Harris, singer Montel Jordan, and music from the ever-glamorous Sheila E. And now, the man of the hour,
Late night in the 90s, guys. What a time. You saw Johnny Carson leave the stage only to be substituted by some guy with a chin. We saw CBS jump into the fray with David Letterman. And then there was Arsenio Hall. There was nobody like Arsenio Hall, and that's why he got the audience that he did. But like all good things, Arsenio Hall had to come to an end. And they had to replace it with something, right? So the powers that be have got together and decided to put on a late night talk show that was absolutely tailor-made for its time and also for its time slot. That's right. I'm talking about the Jon Stewart Show. That's right. Jon Stewart, he had that show on MTV. They moved it to syndication for a while, but it didn't last in syndication. So that means a whole lot of stations were still looking for the next Arsenio Hall. In the summer of 1997, they had one of two options. We had Vibe from Sony, hosted by Chris Spencer, who was later traded out for Sinbad. And we had, from Disney, the Keenan Ivory Wayans Show.
I literally forgot that happened until you just mentioned it.
I don't blame you one bit. Both of them were quite not memorable at all. And they were both gone after about a year. Vibe lasted the season. Keenan Ivory Wayans lasted until the summer. So here we are in the summer of 1998, and we're still looking for the next Arsenio Hall Show. 20th Television teamed up with, of all people, Magic Johnson. Now he's become an entrepreneur. He opened up Magic Theaters and he brought the movies to South Central LA, and from there established an empire of reasonably priced cinemas all across the country. And also he had an entertainment company. And 20th Century Fox teamed up with that entertainment company to give us whatever this is.
Let's not forget, guys, Magic Johnson would have come off like his brief return to the NBA in 1996. And he had that weird stint where he was the coach of the Lakers. Do you remember that?
Sadly. It wasn't a good stint. But also, didn't he only coach for like 10 games? He did not coach for all that long. It wasn't like he coached for a season.
Okay, Magic coached 16 games, was 5-11, and then was replaced by Del Harris in 94. Jesus Christ, I forgot Mike D'Antoni was the Lakers coach for like 2 years.
That was random. I wasn't expecting a Mike D'Antoni reference.
Oh yeah, Mike Brown was the coach for a year after Jackson retired the second time. Then Byron Scott, 38 and 126. Luke Walton, 98 and 148. And Frank Vogel obviously won the one championship in the COVID season in 2020. Darvin Ham and now G.J. Redick. You knew it wasn't going to end well for somebody named Darvin Ham. Can I get some...
Wait. No. Don't make fun of Darvin Ham. He was a solid player.
I know he was a solid player, but I mean, come on. When you hear the name Darvin Ham, I think he was nicknamed Darvin Big Ass Ham.
Well, if you need to give him credit for anything, yes, he's not the head coach of the Lakers anymore. But please remember, he got the Lakers the first ever mid-season tournament title last year.
That's right, he did.
But that doesn't amount to a hill of beans.
No. Don't mean shit. It doesn't mean shit, Mike.
Okay, since this episode is already uncensored, I'm guessing, what? Just get it off your chest.
Okay, let me finally get it off my chest. Okay. Now, I bought 2 unopened packs of Skybox 1990 trading cards. And I opened them before the show. And I mean, I got some names. I got Charles Barkley. I got David Robinson. I got Charles Oakley. I got Rex Chapman. You name it. I mean, I got some good players. But there's this one card that I just freaking died. And that is, I'm showing it to you on the Zoom window. Can you explain this card right here that I'm showing?
It is I think this guy was the third string center on the Cavs back in 1990 or 89. Paul McKeskey. And there's some player for the Los Angeles Clippers who's trying to smack the ball out of his hands. Just sort of an odd pose to be pictured in. Yeah, you're holding the ball and this guy's trying to slap at it. It's not an action photo really per se. But then the back. The back is where this gets sold. Because the back photo is Paul McKeskey sitting on the ground ready to check into a game. Because they couldn't find any other action shots of him, apparently. And it even says in the lower right-hand corner, in case you didn't know who it is, it says his first name, Paul.
This is the greatest pack of cards that I ever bought. Oh. But even better was I went on Google Images. I'm sorry we're not talking about the Magic Hour, people. We'll get to that train wreck later, okay? But we got more important things to talk about right now, considering we're talking about NBA basketball. There's a Twitter account apparently called Paul McKeskey Fan Club. And one of the images I found on Google Images was a fake People magazine cover with a picture of him that says, "The sexiest man alive."
And as you've surely seen by now, this is our spoiler without context this week.
The sexiest man alive.
Oh my God.
The sexiest man alive.
Oh my gosh. Man, the resolution on that photo is absolute crap, but point is still made.
You guys did not notice this through the magic of editing. But Chico was not here when we talked about the Skybox trading card of the great Paul McKeskey.
I missed the Paul McKeskey discussion.
Yes, you did.
Ah, damn it.
But I gotta ask you, Chico, is he the sexiest man alive?
I just want to preface this by saying this is not meant to be derogatory in any way, shape, or form. People who know me know that I have love in my heart for all people, regardless of our differences. That being said, does he not look like a white Lionel Richie?
What?
the hell?
What?
Does he not look like a white Lionel Richie?
No!
I think he looks like a white Lionel Richie.
You know what? I never thought I'd see Chico go full my dad here. Normally it's me who goes full my dad.
I love Lionel Richie. And I'm a big fan of the 1979 draft class. That's the draft class that gave us Magic and Larry Bird.
Wait, was Paul McKeskey on that class?
Yes, he was. Yes.
Oh!
He was drafted 42nd overall, the 20th pick in the second round in 1979. So this all ties together nicely. I thought Chico was blowing smoke up our ass, but he's actually right.
Oh, you know what? Now I'm looking up. Hold on a second. I want to mention something. Did you know that in the fourth round, with the third overall pick, the Milwaukee Bucks selected Eugene Robinson? Do you know what the overall pick was in that?
I can only wonder.
Take a good guess, Mike.
Oh, I'll say higher than 68, but lower than 70.
Yes. So what's the number?
I missed that day of school. I don't know.
Chico?
Number 69.
Nice.
But also taking a look at Paul McKeskey's info on Basketball Reference, if you take a look at his nicknames, well, there's obvious ones, Mo and Big Mo. But I love one of his nicknames here is Speed Bump. Old Speed Bump McKeskey.
Sounds like something you see on MeTV at like 2 a.m. Speed Bump McKeskey.
wasn't Speedboat McKeskey like one of those Jerry Anderson marionette type of shows back in the 60s with like Thunderbirds?
No, you're thinking of Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons.
No, I think I'm thinking of Speedboat McKeskey.
Now, hold on a second. We're not here to talk about Paul McKeskey. We're here to talk about Magic Johnson. Now, Magic Johnson, he's done with the NBA. He's a successful entrepreneur. He has shown the world that you can live your life with HIV and be completely fine.
Provided you have enough money and or really good insurance.
And you sleep on that pile of money. I think, wasn't that the plot of that one episode of South Park? He just slept on a pile of money.
Sleeps on a pile of money.
So now what is Magic going to do?
He's going to decide he wants to be the new Arsenio Hall.
What?
I don't get it either.
Wait, why would you want to be the new Arsenio Hall? I mean, come on. It's the 90s. We already saw that this didn't work with Vibe and Keenan Ivory Wayans. Why did Magic think, oh, I'm going to give it the old college try here? No.
Well, you have to remember, this is the 90s, and the target demographic of the 90s, hip, young, urban audiences. Somebody, God bless them, they think they can tap into that market. Not really realizing that, hey, Arsenio Hall was special. He had a grasp on the audience. He had years and years and years of honing his craft. I mean, you've seen him on various game shows in the 1980s. He was on the next to the last season of Solid Gold when they started incorporating the comic bits. He had a lot of time to hone his craft. What did Magic have?
Magic had a very effervescent personality. I mean, he's got $1 million smile. He's constantly just like in a great mood. You never see him like really mad. But also at the same time, if you look at the television landscape back in 1998, you did have the WB and you did have UPN back then. And also you had Fox. And really none of those places had late night programming per se. Yes, Fox had some late night programming previously with Chevy Chase and Joan Rivers. Those didn't last too long, obviously. But you had a little bit of a niche there to fill. So if you had, let's say, 6 or 7 stations in a market, yeah, you've got your ABC, you've got your NBC, you've got your CBS, but then you've got Fox where there's no late night programming. WB had no late night programming. UPN had no late night programming. So there is a need there. Plus also, maybe not even those networks, but just regular independent stations. So there may have been a need there. Now, admittedly, you look at late night programming in 1998, yes, you had Big Chin on NBC, and you had Letterman on CBS, both of which are not going to be beaten, to say the least. But then ABC, I mean, not every place carried Politically Incorrect at this time. I know for a fact Cleveland didn't. I don't even remember what they showed in 98 before showing Nightline. Or actually, I think they showed Nightline first because I think Politically Incorrect was at 12:05. But regardless, they didn't show Politically Incorrect until its last year or two. So there's obviously a need there for some, and I'm going to use this word in air quotes, alternative late night programming.
And remember, The Daily Show, still in its infancy. And follow that up with When Ben Stein's Money, also still in its infancy. This is the perfect environment for a show like this to flourish. And then the night of June 8th, 1998 happened. I did some research, and I have from Variety. Monday night found an understandably jittery Johnson strutting out to the tuneful strains of the Are You Ready for Magic theme song, performed by Sheila E. and the Magic Hour Band. He was soon joined by his cloying sidekick, comedian Craig Shoemaker, whose job is evidently to be so dreadfully flat as a banter backboard that the host shines by comparison. Further before this paragraph, Variety notes, what the wit challenged Johnson, who also co-executive produces, did well during his first 3 nights in the host chair was play his role of Hollywood Fawnmeister to perfection. He displayed that trademark wide smile, he chuckled at all the right moments, and he showed that he could admire and flatter with the best of them. It's obvious that the stars really do love this guy. The problem is, you can't escape the feeling that Magic isn't a real talk show host. He just plays one on TV. The first night's guests, carefully chosen for their ability to build the host into the second coming of Arsenio, were Arnold Schwarzenegger and Whitney Houston. Schwarzenegger, with no project to promote, opted to sell himself. Houston, the very essence of perkiness, serenaded Magic, but there didn't appear to be a wet eye in the house. Now, this would be Whitney Houston around the time of Waiting to Exhale. So she's gone from America's sweetheart to America's sex bomb. Things improved somewhat on Tuesday with an uncharacteristically relaxed Harrison Ford, serenading Tommy Davidson, and Peter Wilson of the USA Network series La Femme Nikita. As Wilson entered, the two embraced like long-separated lovers. Magic's wife, Cookie, could not have been pleased. Arsenio himself appeared on Wednesday, decked out in Laker warm-ups. You are the only reason I'm here, Magic proclaimed to his good friend. Because remember, Magic and Arsenio were on a videotape together, Time Out, the truth about HIV, AIDS, and you.
Oh, I remember that tape.
Michael Douglas also joined Magic in a contrived bit of business, shooting hoops in a gym.
Now, hold on a second. The idea of Magic Johnson and Michael Douglas shooting basketball just seems so freaking weird.
Also, the musical guest of episode 3, Gloria Estefan.
Oh, man, Gloria Estefan. Now, hold on a second. I think it's time to tell a Greg's Dad story. Mike, are you ready for this Greg's Dad story?
Let me swallow this little bit of fried rice, and then you can tell the story. I don't really want to choke today.
Okay. Let me say it. It's very fitting right now since we have Kamala Harris running for president right now. Way back in the late 90s, my dad had an idea of the first woman president. My dad told me, you know what? It should be like a strong woman. It should be like somebody that everyone admires. And then my family says to me, hey, how about Gloria Estefan?
That's a smidge random.
Never mind that Gloria Estefan is Cuban and could not run for president.
Oh, yeah, there's that too.
An interesting thing about this episode, Craig Shoemaker, he was the comic foil to Mr. Magic up until about midway through the show where he was quietly let go. I actually found a bit on Reddit. It was an excerpt from the Jim and Sam show.
Jim Norton and Sam Roberts on Sirius XM, should note.
And Craig is talking about working on the Magic Hour.
He was essentially hired to be like the white boy sidekick. But there was a joke in this episode that everyone just cringed at. Now, I need to note, this was the day before, on June 7th of 1998. There was Game 3 of the NBA Finals between the Bulls and the Jazz. And Mike, do you want to mention what the final score of the game was?
I don't have the final score with me, but it was a blowout by the Bulls of epic proportions. It was something to the tune of like 96-54.
That's the score. 96-54. And do you want to know what Craig said to Magic? He hadn't seen a beating worse than that since Rodney King. Yikes!
The silence tells it all. I mean, it's not funny. It's sort of one of those moments, what the hell were you thinking?
Now, I did go and find the box score from Game 3 of the NBA Finals for the Jazz. Karl Malone had 22 of the 54 points. The second leading scorer was Shandon Anderson off the bench with 8 points.
Who?
And if you exactly, Chico, who? And if you look at Basketball Reference, the shooting, they were 21 for 70 from the field. Man, talk about a performance that rivals Angola.
Well, Angola had an excuse, though. They were playing the Dream Team, and again, going back to last week's episode, Angola had one player who got into the FIBA Hall of Fame. This game, you literally had the two best basketball teams in the world. You had the Bulls, you had the Jazz. There's no reason the Jazz should have been that bad.
This is a clip from the Jim and Sam show from 2018. Craig Shoemaker is talking about his time on the Magic Hour and why what happened on episode 3 happened.
This is in '97 where it was like there's no irony to it. It's just
Joe Dirt.
It's Joe Dirt.
That's my head writer. And he said these words to me. I said, you can't make me tell these jokes. He said, you have to tell the jokes. I called him Sling Blade. At that time, Sling Blade was out.
Sure.
With
Right.
that jutted out jaw. That's how he talked. I said, Sling Blade, you can't make me tell these jokes. I'll get booed. He says to me, a boo is as good as a laugh. Johnny loved to be booed. I go, Johnny Carson loved to be booed. He had a whole shtick about it. I'm not Johnny Carson. No one knows who I am. You can't make me tell these jokes.
Do you remember any of the jokes?
Oh, I'll tell you what it was.
Well, Jim, as a stand-up, do you think boo, laughter, it's all the same as long as they're reacting?
No, I really wish it was. So what was one of the jokes?
So I'll tell you. So Sling Blade also writes the intro. So I'm backstage. I'm making a list of all these girls I hope are watching. Oh, Linda Scott, you made out with Ricky Altamir at the prom, and you were my date. I'm thinking you're going to see me now. I'm about to come into stardom.
Right.
Here's the intro. Place is going nuts. Urban crowd. That means black.
Yeah.
And I'm white. And Sheila E.'s the band leader. Place is going, are you ready for magic? Everybody's going crazy.
And it really was that. It's still on YouTube. They're going, are you ready for magic?
Everybody's going crazy, right?
I love it.
So here's the intro that Sling Blade wrote for me for Magic to say. All right, everybody, let's get the show started with my co-host. Now, here's a guy nobody would shower with, Craig Shoemaker. Now, see, I'm backstage.
What do you think, Jim?
I'm backstage going, I don't think I'm coming out to that. I thought, let's retake this.
That was Magic's intro for you?
For you. I had just won, these awards, and that was it. So you go, here's a guy nobody would shout, Craig Shoemaker. So I come out, and by the way, I have a horrible walk, and I'm paranoid about it. It's a bouncy walk, and I'm trying not to walk. I look like a cripple. So, can you say that?
Yeah.
Anyways, so I get out to the couch, and this is the opening line. He says, mostly urban crowd, I'm white. And my setup is, and Sling Blade wrote this joke for me to say, hey, Craig, how about that Bulls game? Magic, I haven't seen a beating like that caught on tape since Rodney King. Okay, you see your reaction?
Wow.
And this is 97. It's a sensitive.
Oh, I am telling you, I thought they were going to. There was a collective gasp you could have heard here, here in New York from Paramount Studios. It was literally like this. Wasn't it boo? It wasn't a boo. It was a like that. So it was silent.
So you got something actually not a laugh, not a boo, worse than either of them.
Worse than either.
Yeah.
Like resuscitate.
Did Magic know that joke was coming?
I don't know the answer to that, but I do know this. He was known for the assist in basketball, but this was his response. Oh, Craig, you are bad. Remember, then he goes, remember, buddy, that was Craig, not me. He threw me right in the wood chipper. The assist man. And then I told a joke about a celebrity. He didn't want to look bad. He goes, oh, Craig, you are bad. Now he's not going to come on the show. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's not the reason.
He's selling you out.
Sold me out. Never wanted to look bad. And then it was so funny because it's a talk show, but he had a little difficulty in that area.
Sure.
Michael Clark Duncan was in Armageddon. And he's reading the cue card going, now up next from the movie Armageddon. Now here he is from Armageddon. Craig, how you say that word? I say, just say end of the world. It's the end of my life.
That didn't. Did that make air, or did they edit it out?
I think that made it to the air.
Oh my God.
Armageddon.
Did you have a good relationship with him or no?
Well, not kind of. He's a nice guy and everything, but he mostly was in his dressing room.
So if you saw him now, would you guys talk over the old days, or would you just...
Well, I don't know about that. I haven't seen him. I go to the Lakers games. I'm really tight with the owner. And so I go to the games, but we've sort of never really crossed paths. I'm not really sure he would know who I am. I didn't last very long.
It was a disaster. Magic Johnson has all the charm in the world, but he can't do nothing with it.
Some notable guests that were on the show in the 8 weeks of its life include Danny DeVito, Steve Harvey, Martin Landau, Kelsey Grammer, Chris Rock. Among musicians, you had Randy Travis, Hanson, really big in 1998, Kenny G, Usher, Destiny's Child, James Ingram, and Mary J. Blige. But also, Magic brought along some friends, if you will, from the basketball world and from the Lakers, because also on his show he had his former coach, Pat Riley, and big Lakers fan, Diane Cannon, Ron Harper, Shaquille O'Neal, who would have been on the Lakers at that time, and also WNBA superstar Lisa Leslie, who would have played for the LA Sparks at that time. Chico has an article from the New York Times about the end of the Magic Hour.
We were improving with each day, Mr. Johnson said in a statement, but this is television, and shows are canceled all the time for one reason or another. The Magic Hour had an average Nielsen rating of 1.6, or a little more than 2 million viewers each night since its June 8 debut. While the show is gaining in popularity, the economics of such a major enterprise make it impossible to continue beyond its initial commitment without gaining higher ratings in a very short time. That was from 20th Television, the distributors of the show. Back in 1998, if you did not have at least a 2 rating in syndication, you were not long for this world. Audiences and technology being what it is today, if you were getting a 1.6, you'd get 6 seasons in a movie. During the run of the Magic Show, it was savaged by critics. And no critic savaged it harder than one of late night's contemporaries of the time, Howard Stern. Stern had his radio show sort of simulcast, but not really a live simulcast, but simulcast on E at the time when they weren't running E! News Daily. And it seems like every day that the Magic Hour was on, Howard Stern would take a moment to absolutely ravage it. It has gotten so big and so bad that if you look on YouTube, there's 9 hours of Howard Stern piling it on the Magic Hour. It was one of those things that was like low-hanging fruit. It was low ratings. Magic Johnson had 0 charisma. There were times when he visibly looked like he didn't know what he was doing. And Howard Stern, he is a shock jock, but at his heart, he is a professional. Howard Stern gave his professional opinion on how Magic Johnson was doing on this show. And if I may sum up his professional opinion on this show, Magic sucked.
Well, duh.
Magic Johnson invited Howard to come on the show, and believe it or not, he took him up on the offer on the July 2nd, 1998 episode 19. Howard Stern wasted absolutely no time in giving it to him. On that episode, he was joined by Playboy Playmate of the Year, Karen McDougal.
Oh, no. Dear God. And we all know what happens with Karen McDougal, so should I even go into it?
Try and be genteel, Greg.
Let's just say she had a certain incident with
Mr. Black.
We also had Howard Stern putting together a ragtag group of musicians called The Losers, and they played the song Wipeout. And because this is Howard Stern, waste absolutely no time getting into it. He talked about Magic's lifestyle before HIV, practicing safe sex with his wife, the white guy comedian, Craig Shoemaker, Steve White, who replaced the white guy comedian, and then Tommy Davidson, who replaced him.
You know, it's not going good if you have like 3 sidekicks over the course of 4 weeks on your show. That's kind of a sign like this is not going to work.
And then one of the big topics was Howard Stern looking at Magic and saying that he was, and now I'm quoting, trying to talk like the white man. He said, "I'm blacker than you are. I'm the blackest black man you'll ever meet. What ghetto are you from?" Magic said, "I'm from Michigan." And Howard responded, "Is that a black area?"
Oh.
And then he went into some stuff that I don't even feel comfortable getting into. I guess the only question now is, did Magic enjoy it?
Well, did he?
According to an interview with Variety, he said that he regretted producers booking Stern for his talk show so many times. I wanted to say something and hit him at the same time. I was mad when they booked him, but there's nothing you can do. When people look for ratings, this is what happens. And after that, he also kind of sort of put some of the blame on a lack of support from black celebrities who refused or could not appear on his show. To which Johnson later modified, their managers and agents keep them off of the black shows.
What?
That's basically what Magic Johnson said. He didn't look into himself and saw that he couldn't carry the weight of this show. And you can surround yourself with a whole lot of good people, which is what Magic Johnson did. I mean, he had Sheila E. as the band director, Craig Shoemaker, Tommy Davidson.
Yeah, you have all these talented people around, but if the host is not doing a good job doing the show, it can only go so far. You can have like the most talented staff in the world. It does not matter if the host is not like compelling to watch throughout the entire show.
And the thing of it is, Magic Johnson had no problem being the guest. If you remember a while back, he was on not 1, but 2 episodes of the Super Mario Brothers Super Show where he played the guest. And he was really good at that.
Yes.
But he wanted to drive the ship. He said he wanted to be on the other side of the desk. He wanted to be the host. That didn't work out well for him.
No.
At the end of the summer, they just let the reruns run out, including the Howard Stern episode. And then when the fall came, they decided they were going to move on to the next thing. Whatever that was.
Was there a next thing for 20th television after the Magic Hour?
I don't think there was.
Yeah. I think Fox probably thought, Nah, we're good. Our affiliates are just fine at 11 o'clock.
Could you blame the writers? Because the writing staff consisted mainly, and this is according to deadshirt.net, of middle-aged white guys, many of whom were veterans of The Tonight Show, specifically Carson's Tonight Show, who only knew how to write for a Carson audience. Among them was famed comedy writer Daryl Vickers.
Okay, that's your problem right there, is you have a bunch of middle-aged white guys doing comedy for a show that's centered for an urban audience. I mean, I can't picture, like, in 1998, if it was, like, very easy to find, like, young African-American writers for late-night comedy, but I'm sure you could have found some at, like, the Comedy Store or something, or somewhere in the LA comedy scene.
Also, you compare the show itself to David Letterman or Arsenio Hall or, hell, even Jon Stewart. They all sort of had an edge to them, which is what you needed in the 90s to survive. You needed an edge. You didn't need to be edgy. You just need to have an edge. This edge was about as blunt as James Blunt.
Wow, that's a name from the past. James Blunt. And let me just say, that wasn't beautiful. It's true.
Sheila E. would go on to have a legendary career as a band leader and performer. Craig Shoemaker, he's still doing his comedy, even though it turns out he wanted to sue the show after he claimed that he was stiffed on his pay or play deal. And Magic Johnson went to become a Naismith Hall of Famer and one of the great ambassadors of basketball.
Yeah, Magic is still beloved. Well, we're releasing this around his birthday. So he's going to be, 65 now?
Correct.
But also, I need to mention, I think we know why this show failed. Because you know who they should have gotten instead of Craig Shoemaker as the sidekick? This guy right here.
Paul McKeskey.
Yeah. Wouldn't you agree, Mike?
Could have been worse than Craig Shoemaker, for heaven's sakes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, admittedly, maybe Craig Shoemaker wasn't bad, but he's sort of like Ron Burgundy in the sense of, I'll read what you give me, even though in the back of his mind, as we heard during the Stern interview, he's like, should I really say this? No, you shouldn't have, and you lost your job over it.
We should make a note of this, that most of this information comes from the book, What Were They Thinking? The 100 Dumbest Events in Television History by David Hofstede, which is now available at your local library or bookstore. Magic Johnson, he wanted to be the next Arsenio after so many people have tried. But unfortunately, he didn't even raise up to the level of Chris Spencer on Vibe and became a thing on TV.
Oh, so that was the other guy who hosted Vibe before Sinbad.
Correct. Chris Spencer.
Did he own Spencer's Gifts?
No, Universal owned Spencer's Gifts.
Oh.
You could tell I shopped there a lot during the 90s, couldn't you?
Oh, who didn't shop in the 90s at Spencer's Gifts? Mike, you probably shopped at Spencer's Gifts, right?
Oh, Spencer's Gifts was amazing back in the day.
You strike me as a Hot Topic guy.
What about Mike strikes you as a Hot Topic?
The fact that his hair stands on end without any product on it, for one.
Hey, that's because I haven't combed my hair today. I didn't leave the house.
Oh, okay.
I was a censor guy for sure. Hot Topic, I think I went in once, and this is about 20 years ago because they were like one of the only places that carried Aqua Teen Hunger Force stuff. And I wanted a shirt. But no, Spencer, oh my gosh, they had all the posters and games and stuff and even naughty playing cards. and naughty birthday cards, which didn't interest me necessarily, but, you know, I was a pervy little 12-year-old back then, and it's like, oh, ha, 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 boobies. But no, I was a Spencer guy. Oh my gosh. Like I said, just like the neon signage they had there that you could put in your house and all sorts of posters. And oh, Spencer's was amazing.
Let's do some bidding. Hit the music.
I'm scared of what you just found.
Now, this is very legit and very, very cool. It is the November 1978 Sports Illustrated college basketball issue with the Super Soaps on the cover.
Sops, like sophomores, not soaps.
So now you made me think, wow, Magic Johnson was on soap?
Greg, I'm sorry, I gotta get this in since you said you didn't know he was on soap. Well, maybe after Robert Urich killed that guy in the first season, maybe he came aboard and was like the next person to murder somebody. The murdering basketball player. And we all know Jessica Tate probably banged the hell out of him.
You know what? Catherine Hellman looks like somebody who Magic would probably be like, well, why not?
Well, no, but if you remember on Soap, Catherine Hellman, she like banged everybody, but also at the same time, like Robert Mandan like banged everybody. That's why they're so like incompatible, but still like compatible-ish.
Oh my god! And the thing of it is, this cover has Magic in a tuxedo and a top hat doing a slam dunk, and the caption's like Michigan State's classy Irvin Johnson. And here you two jokers are talking about Catherine Hellman banging James Mandan.
Well, it's Robert Mandan 1, but no, we were talking about Catherine Hellman banging Magic Johnson because Magic Johnson became like the murdering basketball player after Robert Urich and his tennis pro. I don't know if he was arrested, but his arc on the show ended.
He was murdered, wasn't he, his character?
Was he murdered? I know he was sleeping around. I think he was another person who slept with Catherine Hellman.
Yeah.
I don't remember if he was murdered or not. I remember he was having an affair with Catherine Hellman, but again, he was written off in that story arc maybe halfway through or 10 episodes through that first season. But anyhow, we've got this SI issue.
It is available as a buy it now, but how much are you going to buy it for? Greg?
$50.
$50. Mike?
20.
The actual buy it now price for this 1978 college basketball issue with Magic on the cover. You've spent more on less, Greg. $200.
Oh.
What?
Well, let me just say, the Larry Bird cover is more iconic from Indiana State with college basketball's greatest secret and the Indiana State cheerleaders going to shh. You know the cover.
Now, was Larry Bird ever on Soap? Did he maybe have a fling with Corinne Tate?
Oh, that would be awesome. I would. It was a story arc with Larry Bird and Diana Canova. I think we would all love it.
And somehow, Sal Viscuso was kept out of it for some reason.
He was too busy with the demon child to worry about Larry Bird.
I remember. Corinne married Sal Viscuso's character, Tim Plotsky. Or maybe we should... No, oh no, I can't do this. I can't say this. Maybe Larry Bird was having a fling with Mary Campbell. Oh no, that's just
Why did you have
horrible.
to mention that?
I know, that's what I said. That's horrible.
Mary Campbell's a sweetheart. You don't want to do that.
She is, and the thing is, the Tates are the ones that are like really screwed up. Mary Campbell is an innocent angel in this show. Burt Campbell, though, Richard Mulligan, woohoo, wackadoodle. That might be the reason why she would go to Larry Bird. Burt Campbell was a little too wackadoodle for Mary Campbell.
Yeah, because he got abducted by aliens one time.
Yes, he did. I think that was the start of season 2 or season 3. Hey, I wonder which soap character Paul McKeskey would have an affair with.
Oh my God! Why? Why? Why?
Just throwing it out there. I'm going to guess maybe Chuck and Bob, or Chuck or Bob.
Probably the dummy.
Yeah, Bob. There's no way that Bob Campbell can just like get away from People Magazine's sexiest NBA player alive.
Oh Lord!
Why didn't you make that photo the spoiler with no context?
Because I wanted to show everyone this picture from the Skybox trading card of him sitting on his ass.
Fair enough.
With Paul on the back of the card. Now, I should note, every Skybox trading card from 1990 has the first name on the back of the card. So I wonder if I pulled Magic Johnson's card, would it say Magic or would it say Irvin?
You know, there's an easy way to figure this out. We just do a simple search on Google, and it will tell us the answer to that question. And the answer to that question is Magic.
Oh, good.
I mean, it would only make sense, right?
Well, but everybody else used their first name, so yeah, Irvin would make sense. Even though he's universally known as Magic, I get that too. See, this is how you gotta fill the show when there's no Match Game Hollywood Scores Hour, and you officially declare This Week in Santa Barbara History was a one-time only joke.
I guess when you have nothing left to fill, we just say you can listen to all of our previous episodes, all 485 of them, over at our website at itwasathingontv.com. We have everything from episodes, minisodes, live watches, instant reactions, delayed reactions. I feel like I want to do a delayed reaction with Greg soon about Wolverine and Deadpool.
No, hold on. That's not the name of the movie. It's reversed. It's Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, got it. Deadpool and Wolverine. I feel like we should be doing a delayed reaction on that soon, Greg. I really do.
Maybe we could do an old style presents episode at some point.
And remember, we are on all social media, including Instagram, Threads, Mastodon, and It Was a Thing on TV. At Facebook, it is It Was a Thing on TV podcast. And if you're looking for us on Mastodon, it is It Was a Thing on TV at tvwatch.party. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever fine podcasts can be streamed. And if you're doing it on YouTube, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date on all of our future entries, including what we have in store for next week.
Well, next week, guys, we're going back to 2 episodes again. Finally, it's been a while, but we're finally going back to 2 episodes. Now, for our first episode, we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of a British game show that made its way here to the U.S. And I'll just say one thing. It's out of control!
But before we talk about that very special anniversary, someone's got a birthday coming up.
Oh, yeah.
If Susan St. James had music, it would be playing right now because she's about to cash in her money in the bank.
Yes! Susan St. James, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be cashing in her money in the bank. Now, a couple of years ago, we had her cash in her money in the bank, and it was really a good show. I think it was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago now we did it. Okay,
I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So once again, Susan, it's time to make your pick. What do you want to be your money in the bank for your birthday this year? Uh-oh. No, Susan. We can't do uh-oh. We covered that like 2 years ago. We can't do that again. Okay? You got to pick another show. You can pick any show on the list. Okay? Uh-oh. No! Again, Susan. We can't cover uh-oh. We covered that 2 years ago. You don't understand, Susan. We can't do that again. We can't do an uh-oh revisited. I'm sorry, Susan. We can't stand for this. All right? So, please, Susan, pick another show. Any show to your heart's content on the list. George! George? Wait a minute. You want us to pick George, the family sitcom with retired boxing legend George Foreman? Susan, I don't know if that's a good idea. I mean, do you really want to pick George? George! Come on. I mean, Susan, I don't understand why you would pick this. It doesn't really make any sense why you would pick George. I mean, it's not really the best show, but I mean, come on, George. All right, Susan. You want us to pick George? We're gonna pick George, okay? So next week we're covering the George Foreman sitcom George.
Could be worse. I've seen some real stinkers on this list. She could have picked one of those.
Mike, can you believe she picked George?
Well, you know, Chico just said she could have picked any of the stinkers that are on the list. Yeah, you find an audio clip of her saying, the Chevy Chase Show. Good luck.
You know, I could have that arranged by Joe Murata, and he could make an AI Susan St. James.
I should be careful what I wish for.
You should.
Hey, Susan. Say God, the devil, and Bob. No, don't. Susan, that doesn't sound like Beverly Hills Bunce.
Just remember, Unsolved Mysteries, followed by Beverly Hills Bunce.
For Greg, for Mike, I'm Chico. Thank you so much for listening. Please be kind to one another. And we'll see you next week with 2 more things on TV. Roar us out, Greg.
Row!
Nothing but net. Hi, I'm Magic Johnson with a few tips on blowing up the Death Star. First off, never forget your objective. There gonna be so many folks coming at you to slow you down, you might feel like you got a bullseye on your head. No, but they will be trying to kill you. Also, don't forget you have teammates out there watching your back. Unless you've been messing around with their wife or girlfriend. No, but they will be there to help you. Lastly, you want to make sure you step back and take cover after you sink that bucket, 'cause that sky gonna light up like the 4th of July. No, but there will be a large explosion.
Hey guys, I got something else for you. You know, we haven't done It Was a Thing on TV Haiku Corner, written by ChatGPT in a long-ass time. So, I had a haiku made. Let's play the music. So guys, I had ChatGPT write a haiku about Paul McKeskey.
I want to hear this.
Mike, are you so excited by this?
This guy is getting more mileage than any one-time mention on our show. This is amazing.
And all because I pulled his card in a pack of Skybox trading cards.